It's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, you bet. So, as you know, my first question, and I've tried to get away from this, but it's so big, is COVID. 6 years ago, we're looking at the calendar now. It's March. How did you get through that coronavirus, Sarah, and how has it changed and shaped the way that you live and work today?
Very much changed things. I was an acupuncturist. I still am, but I closed my office and had a lot of time on my hands. So I pivoted. My next big love is yoga. So I started doing yoga online. And so I did something, that I love to do and made more money at it. And then I wrote a book. I finished writing a book. And so now I'm more doing online yoga and promoting my book and enjoying my grandchildren. So,
I love it. So let me ask you this. If you were to synthesize everything that you do for a young mind at career day, say they're 12 or 13 years old and they want to know not only what you do now, but what you did before, how would you synthesize your career and make it make sense to them?
one of the things I still always use is the five elements. So, I'm a big indigenous healer, right? And so I bring the five elements to almost everything I do and I actually made a picture of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And because it has to do with the earth, it has to do with nature. And we are nature. We have a true nature and we're part of nature. And we've definitely lost that in our modern culture. And so what I do is I bring in nature to everything I do, even my book.
Yes. Yes. So what did you want to be when you were that age? When you were young, what was your dream career?
Definitely was in the health field, and I thought I would go more to becoming a Western doctor. I just really enjoy health. And I think I just pivoted because I found yoga at 15 and it helped me clean my act up big time. I
Yeah.
was not going in a great direction, but I would have gone to medical school. Still would love to go to medical school. But I chose this other path.
So talk to me about growing up. Are you from Wisconsin originally? Okay.
Yeah. So I am one of eight siblings.
Okay.
I'm the third oldest. I'm the oldest girl. And so I kind of got into the caretaker role, which I look back and for the most part, I loved watching my sisters and brothers. I loved playing with them. I changed a lot of diapers and we didn't have disposable ones. We had to clean them.
Wow. Yeah.
So, so it was a little bit of a
Yeah.
crazy household, 10 people in one house.
Yeah.
At one point, we had one car. And so I definitely grew up not rich, but maybe rich in experiences.
Yeah. So I'm curious, going from the Midwest to Colorado with what you're doing with acupuncture and yoga, the architecture and chemistry of our approach and the way that we approach our bodies and life is totally different. Did it enhance? What was that move like to go from, kind of the plains to the mountainous region?
Well, interestingly enough, the reason why I did that was because I got hired on by Continental Airline. And so that's what brought me to Colorado. But what it taught me as a flight attendant was people all over the country, depending on where you are, definitely have certain behaviors. Like
Hmm.
people out east definitely behave different from the people in California or the people in Texas. And then we'll talk about Florida. And so it was really taught me that we are, depending on where we grow up, it can be who we are. And so we have to look at that. And I know I didn't answer your question. The question was, say it again.
So the main question was like there's a difference between being in the Midwest and being in the mountains. And I know that when I travel, there's a different way that that my body will react and interact, and there's things that just aren't a problem. Allergies go away, things go away, and all of that affects the way that you holistically go about anything, exercise, healthcare, any of that. How much of that changed when you went from basically the Midwest to a area?
It's a little tough because the Midwest people are sweet. They're nice.
Yeah,
They're they're beer drinkers, and so it woke me up a little bit to other cultures. And the mountain, I love this area. I really enjoy just the beautiful views,
yeah,
and every indigenous culture always use nature to help them live.
yeah.
And so, yes, if you're in Colorado, your body's gonna change because you're gonna make more red blood cells because you need more oxygen. And yeah, how we exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. So, talk to me about Speeding to Compassion. Talk to me about your book. How did the idea come about, and what did it feel like when you actually saw it in your hands in pulp?
Yes. So I had a lot of self-doubt, but how it started was this. I was going to do some self-care, and I was going to go out on my paddleboard and go out to this beautiful area that I'm just going to zen out. And as I'm going there, I'm not far from my house, but where I'm at a red light with somebody in front of me. It turns green. Now I'm excited. I want to go. And this person doesn't go. And I was a complete jerk. I really was. I hate saying this. I wince every time, but I'm not the only one out there being a jerk. So I come around this person who's not moving at a green light, and I look and I kind of give this look like, what the heck? And I realized instantly what was going on. This young gal at the driver's side was probably driving for the very first time, and her mom was in the passenger seat,
Yeah,
and she froze. And I left and I was like, felt so bad. And I thought, oh my gosh, never ever again will I act like such a jerk. It just it hurts my heart to think that I maybe froze that person, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um, and so that's how this book started. I said, why don't I mean, my gosh, I know what happens with these negative emotions into the body and the bad chemistry it's sending. And I teach mindfulness and yoga and let's be at peace. And here I was doing the opposite. So I took what I teach on a mat, what I teach in the my with my patients, and I said I got to figure out a way that I'm not going to be such a jerk anymore.
yeah,
And that's my journey was this book.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So let me ask you this. Speaking of the journey, if you can meet anybody right now that's doing what you're doing or in the same realm or someone inspirational, you can meet one person alive on the planet right now and spend some time with them that might help you on your journey. Who would you love to meet and talk to? And it could even be
right
someone in your
now,
family lineage. I mean, it could be an earlier generation.
oh, thank you for, oh my gosh. I'm going to say my mom's mom.
Yeah,
Um, she was definitely a peaceful person.
yeah,
And you could just be around her. You can sense that.
yeah,
You can sense when people are just grounded and sense and humble. And yet, what's the one word I want to use? That compassionate.
yeah,
That people who are compassionate, you can feel that.
yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. What is the motivation for you to do this work? You're obviously putting out a lot of material to help change lives, doing things that are going to help people's mental health. But you have your mental health to take care of as well. How do you balance all of that? What is the energy? And obviously with what you're doing too, you got to change with the times. We have AI, we have war, we have all of these things that are distracting and a part of our modern fabric. What gets you up every day to do this work, to show compassion, to help others, and to take care of yourself?
I think it's because of my heart. I want to stay connected to my heart and connected to love, to do things. from love rather than from well, and it's just a human story. We all feel rage, we all feel jealous, we all feel all these things. And I think that's the biggest thing I want of this book is we're gonna be jerks. We're gonna be these what we don't like about being human, but we still are. We still have a good true nature. We still have joy. We have inner wisdom. And if we can remember that and bring that to our humanity, and I think it's a universal experience that people uh, can be jerks, especially on the road. So this whole metaphor about being on the road, it's just a metaphor for life.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's just my heart.
Yeah, well, and I think we have to go through those things in our life. We have to have the mirror put in front of us, or we have to experience these ugly things, and that's the only way that we can grow. I mean, anybody that's worth any salt that has evolved on this planet has gone through all of that, the scrapes and made bad choices. It's just we're not AI, we're human. So, um, yeah,
I mean, AI is going to do a lot of things, but it'll never end wars. It'll never give us, give us the meaning in life, our souls. And
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think about that, being involved in the jazz world and in the music world, there's all of these songs that are coming out from AI generated things, and there's AI actors and actresses now that's enraging Hollywood, but there's never going to be anything like going to theater or going to a live music performance, any of those things. We humans have been here long enough to make ourselves irreplaceable, you know? So,
yeah.
for sure. So, let me ask you this. If you were to have a dream tonight and you ran into a young version of you, a 16, 18-year-old version of you, and you walked into the room and there was a film projector and you hit play and there was a 60-second highlight reel of the life you've lived, would that young version of you believe that your life turned out this way?
No, no. I lacked too much confidence. I didn't have enough confidence at that point to I kept looking outside of myself. What book can I read? Who can I go see? Therapy, whatever. It was always outside of me. And so if I could say it to that person, it's like go into your inner wisdom because you've got it.
Yeah, it's all there. So let me ask you this. If you were to walk into a room of everybody that knows you in a professional sense, patients, clients, anybody that you've worked with, colleagues even over the years, and you could walk to the front of that room and tell them a fun story about your life, something that would humanize you a little bit, the first concert you went to, a wonderful place you traveled to, jumping out of an airplane, just a fun story that would cast a different light on you. What would be a fun story you would tell that room?
Oh. It would be between martial arts and learning to ride a motorcycle.
Okay,
Okay.
I love it.
But let's do the motorcycle one.
Okay,
So I'm looking around and I see these women on beautiful spring day, and they're on these motorcycles. So I decide to go to the motorcycle school for a weekend. And I actually did a really good job. Friday night, it's all about the safety. You're in the basement, room uh, of a community college. Saturday comes and you get to be in the parking lot, and you get to get on the motorcycle and walk it down the parking lot and back. And then you get to turn it on and walk it up. It was baby steps. By Saturday afternoon, I'm riding a motorcycle and we've got these cones and you've got to stop at a certain place. And I took this little corner a little faster than I probably should have because I was having so much fun. And the Harley Davidson teachers, they're like, one of the guys yells from the opposite side of the parking lot, "Hey, Connie, I'm looking forward to seeing you out on the road." And I was like, "Oh my God, I can do this, right?"
yeah,
So Sunday comes and we're gonna do the motorcycle test. And so we practice, we do the motorcycle test. We don't know who passed. So we go back into that basement classroom, and then you're handed sheets of paper, and I'm like, I passed. Right. It was so cool.
that's awesome.
And interestingly enough, I'm about to leave, and these gals who were there, they were threesome. They kind of reminded me of Charlie's Angels, but anyway. One of them came up to me and said, "Oh, Connie, on Friday we looked around the room and we were going to see, we were thinking who was not going to make it. And you were one of them." And I was like, "Oh, okay. That's an interesting story you made up." But anyway, so I rode a motorcycle for a while.
That's beautiful. I love it. So, of everything that you've accomplished, the journey that you've been on, this metamorphosis of career to where you're at now, when you look back on that rearview mirror of life, what are you ultimately the happiest about, the proudest of?
Ah, being a mom.
Yeah,
I love kids. I love my brothers and sisters. We have a son and a daughter, and now four grandchildren. I think because when I first had children, I knew I needed help because I knew we had a crazy life with eight kids. I thought I got to see, and so I went and did intense therapy, and there was a lot that I intuitively knew to be a mom,
yeah.
and so that was really nice. But I enjoy my kids, grandkids, my best accomplishment.
Wonderful. So at the end of the day, Connie, everyone has a perception of you, an idea of who they think you are. Family, friends, clients, readers, everyone that divulges in all of the different bubbles of your life, like the diagram you showed. But you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
That is such a really good question because I contemplated that big time through COVID.
Yeah,
Bring that back. And my perception of me is that I'm a little bit of a weirdo, I'm more of a creative. I'm not pop culture. I love odd things. And I love to give people the benefit of the doubt.
yeah,
I love to just look more at their heart than sometimes their behaviors.
yeah. So if anybody wants to get a copy of your book, they want to reach out, any of the wonderful work that you're doing, where's the best place for them to go?
ConnieWarden.com. That's
Okay,
my website.
that's simple. I will put all of that in the show notes. Finally, do you ever get sick of seeing the mountains?
No,
Okay,
it is so amazing.
yeah.
And my daughter and I we just like, once again, we see this, especially if you're driving high
Oh
up
yeah.
in the, like in high. Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. And every time I'm up there with my wife, I'm like, does anybody here ever just get to a point where it's like, yeah, I could take it or leave it? But every time I ask people that are from Colorado or a mountainous area, because we're just landlocked here in Kansas City, like Wisconsin, there's just, you don't have any oceans or bodies of water or any mountains. So when I get there, it's like I'm just snapping pictures and all that. So it's a lot of fun. But this has been great. Connie, thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with the book and everything else. It's been wonderful.
I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.